Spring is here. Our gardens are exploding with color and excitement. I can barely keep up. Every day there's something new happening. Well, this is the time of year that I get lots of phone calls from people saying help, because they go out into their garden and they realize they may have slightly overindulged in purchasing lots of different plants last year, planting them here, there with maybe no rhyme or reason, and now things are starting to look a little chaotic. If this sounds familiar, I'm going to share with you a tip on what I do to help tie together a garden bed that has lots of different plants in it while still looking cohesive. I'm Rebecca Sweet with Garden Design. I have been designing gardens for 25 years, and this is the number one thing I hear. The number one complaint from people is, my garden looks like I suffer from one-of-each-itis. I have one of everything, nothing flows. And I understand how this can happen. And this was really common for those of us, me included, who love lots of different plants. We want to try everything, but it can really look disjointed in the garden unless you pull out things that you can echo. And it can be a color echo, it can be a texture, a shape, a form echo. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about color echoes. Now, when I say color echo, the emphasis is on the word echo. It doesn't have to be the same exact color. It should be in the same color family. So for example, if you love the color orange, you might pick out another plant that has a pinky orange color or a yellow orange color. They're in the same family, and that family can be a somewhat wide umbrella, but that way you're able to use lots of different plants, but they have something in common. Now, when I talk about color echoes, I want to encourage you to pull out color sources other than foliage and flowers. That's fine. Foliage and flowers are great. That's what most people gravitate towards first when they think about color coming from a plant. But look a little deeper as to less than obvious colors, like a plant stems, for example. A stem is quite often a different color, and you could pull that out. Or the berries of a plant, or even non-living elements like a container or hardscaping. And when you pull out lots of different elements of color and tie those together, what you're doing is you're creating a complex color echo. And that echo is going to last for months and months in your garden because it comes from foliage and flowers and stems, berries, containers, succulents, non-living elements, versus a short color echo if you were to just focus on flowers only, because flowers don't last all that long. They can be a little fleeting. So today we're in my garden, in a real small garden bed here, and I want to share with you some specific plants that I'm using and their sources of color coming from different elements and how I'm creating a really long-lasting color echo. Okay, so in this part of my garden, really everything sort of revolves around, I have 3 or 4 of these varieties of euphorbias. This is called Miner's Merlot, and they not only have their characteristic gorgeous bright chartreuse spring flowers, but it's really that burgundy foliage down here that I love. Not only that, this is a classic example of what I was talking about, looking for unusual sources of color. You can see these little wiry stems are also that beautiful dark kind of ruby color, as are the centers of each of these little flowers has this little dark burgundy spot. So this is fabulous color echoes happening right here. And I'll show you what I have planted around these to further create that color echo. And you can see right behind it here, growing on the fence, that is a Spanish shawl. I absolutely love this vine. And you can see it's got these bright magenta flowers. This will just have a million little flowers in just a bit. It's about ready to explode. But its foliage also has tinges of burgundy, well, within it, burgundy and green. So I have that growing all along the fence. I have this little salvia that's one of my favorites, but unfortunately got stepped on at Easter by my daughter. So it's about half its normal size. It's called Love and Wishes. And you can see here how it's echoing the burgundy in the back, even those little magenta flowers in the back. So it has these magenta flowers, but it also has just these dried bracts, the dried parts of the flowers that are beautiful dark colors that hang onto the plant for months that are really pretty, further emphasizing that color echo. So let's walk around over here. You can see on that fence I have another of the Spanish shawl vines. And you can see what it's growing on. It's growing on the bricks. And that's what I'm talking about, the non-living element being within the same color family, as is this container here in this sort of kind of dark brown. It's got tinges of maroon in it, in the same color family. The little pale pink flowers of the geranium biacovo, I'd say that works in that color family, as do the succulents. This is a Graptovaria Fred Ives. And I've got seeds this year that I've just planted here. These are Cosmo, and the variety is Veluette. And that's a new variety to me. It's supposed to be lots of different shades of beautiful maroon. Some of them are even striped. So I can't wait to see how great they look. But this is what I'm doing. I'm actually really excited to pump up the spring color echoes of that magenta and burgundy by planting this in the ground. This is a ground orchid, a Blatilla, and I've had this for years and years in this container, and it's just screaming to get out. So I'm going to take half of it, divide it, put it in the ground here, keep the rest in a container and move it, and then I think it's just gonna look beautiful. Really focusing on that maroon, kind of magenta, purpley color echo. Now, sure, there's gonna fade, and then summer, I have a whole new slew of colors in this bed coming from my roses here and other flowers that I hope to share with you in just a month or two when they're doing their things. So there you have it. This is a little color echo in my garden. Happy spring.